Hi, this is Rod here. Welcome to Follow Your Bliss, episode number 1. The Obstacle is the Way, a book by Ryan Holiday. I divided the whole book into 4 big ideas. The first big idea is having the correct perception. The second big idea is right action. The third big idea is why obstacles make you stronger. The fourth idea is Lady Fortune. Right in the beginning of the book, there's a short story which serves us as a great introduction to the subject. The story is about a king who grows dissatisfied with the state of affairs. He thinks his people had grown soft and entitled. Decided to teach them a lesson, he placed a large boulder in the middle of the main road, which blocked the entrance into the city. After doing that, he was hiding nearby and observing people's reactions. Just like the NSA or the FBI, am I right? Nobody managed to do anything except to complain or curse the king. Wow. Actually, that part sounds a lot like nowadays. Just like people in the government, right? After several days, some lone peasant arrived in town. No matter how hard he tried, he could not push it out of the way. Then, he thought of something. He went into the woods to find something he could use for leverage. Finally, he returned with a large branch he had crafted into a lever and deployed it to dislodge the massive rock from the road. Beneath the rock were a purse of gold coins and a note from the king which said, "The obstacle in the path becomes the path." Never forget, within every obstacle is an opportunity to improve our condition. Alright, now you're maybe thinking, okay, it's a nice and cute story and all, but it's only theory. Real life is more complex, right? Well, if you really think like that, I think you might be missing the point. Even though you're not technically wrong, the point is, do whatever you can with whatever you've got. Let me say that again so it really gets stuck in your head, because it is really important. Do whatever you can with whatever you've got. Maybe the guy who removed the obstacle in the path was not the smartest or the strongest. Maybe he was just a regular Joe with a bit more persistence than the others, and he was lucky enough to find a way others could not. And so he succeeded in removing the obstacle. Now, can you think of similar situations that happen all the time in the real world? It's not about blaming the circumstances. It's about using your own weapons and do what you can instead of waiting for better conditions or for the perfect solution to come. Maybe there was a really strong guy who was passing by and just thought, "God damn it, this rock is too big. If I was training hard enough, I would have been able to move this rock easily." Maybe there was also a guy who was an expert in demolition. Well, for starters, let's say there was a specialist in demolition back then, right? And let's suppose he was also passing by and thought, "Oh no, if I had the proper equipment, this would take less than 10 seconds. Now, let me ask you, what do they both have in common? With whom would you rather have yourself identified with? With the lone peasant or with the others who just passed by and cursed the king? Well, it's your choice in the end. Part 1. Perception. A good person dies events with his own color and turns whatever happens to his own benefit. Seneca. To achieve our goals, first we need to have the correct perception. Practice objectivity. See things how they are. Ryan says that our perceptions can be a source of strength or of great weakness. We're soft, entitled, and scared of conflict. Great times are great softeners. Abundance can be its own obstacle. Earlier generations faced worse problems with fewer safety nets and fewer tools. They dealt with the same obstacles we have today, plus the ones they worked so hard to try to eliminate for their children and others. I mean, sometimes I'm also guilty of thinking that situation nowadays is not as good as it used to be. But you know what? Think about something. Even if the housing costs skyrocketed and it doesn't seem that easy to get a job, we nowadays have several other opportunities that just weren't available before. So, in what will you put your focus at? On how things aren't as good as they used to be? Or on what you can do now in order to improve your chances of having a better future. You'll never realize the opportunities around you if you're too busy complaining the reality ain't as it should be. Who has more chances of succeeding? Someone who sees reality as it is, or rather someone who escapes it? Instead of doing much about it, we sit at home and play video games or travel. And then we wonder why it isn't getting any better. Part 2. Right action. The cucumber is bitter, then throw it out. There are brambles in the path, then go around. That's all you need to know. Marcus Aurelius. Once we have the correct perception as objective as it can be, free of distractions, exaggerations, and misperceptions, we can focus on action. There's a short passage on Rand's book about Viktor Frankl, a survivor of 3 concentration camps. He found presumptuousness in the age-old question, what is the meaning of life? He said the world is asking you that question, and it's your job to answer it with your actions. In every situation, life is asking us a question, and our actions are the answer. Our job is simply to answer well, right action. Maybe you're not the strongest or the wisest. Maybe you aren't as prepared as you should be to face whatever obstacle you're facing. Maybe. Still, what is the correct course of action? To do what you can. But when? Now. Now is the time to take action. Sometimes the best decision is to stop whatever you're doing so you can have a correct perception of things. Sometimes it is just planning. While some other times the correct action is just to put ourselves out there and to get our hands dirty. But when I say dirty, I mean really, really dirty. Put yourself out there and give everything you've got. Part 3. Why obstacles make you stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Friedrich Nietzsche. The act of constantly doing your best will improve you as a person. And guess what? Thanks to those damned obstacles. If the obstacles weren't there, you wouldn't have needed to be always giving your best. Let me ask you a question. How do you get stronger when you work out? How do you get better playing video games? For me, the answer is quite obvious. You get stronger by working out more. You get better at video games by playing more as well, right? Ryan says that passing one obstacle simply says you're worthy of more. Just when you think you've successfully navigated one obstacle, another one emerges. Life is a process of breaking through these impediments. Each time, you learn something. Each time, you develop strength, wisdom, and perspective. Until all that's left is you, the best version of you. Each time, you develop strength, wisdom, and perspective. Until all that's left is you, the best version of you. Use your path as a learning. Even if you failed big time, you can still turn that into your favor. Part 4. Lady Fortune. Events were considered to be the will of the gods. The fates were forces that shaped our lives and destinies, often not with much consent. Johnny Appleseed. Ryan says that with all modern technology has come the conceited delusion that we control the world around us. We're convinced that we can now finally control the uncontrollable. Of course, that is not true. It's highly unlikely we'll ever get rid of all the unpleasant and unpredictable parts of life, fight against the sentence, or accept it. What I think Ryan's trying to say is, don't be surprised if you end up failing on your enterprises. Just because you control your course of action doesn't mean you will control the result. Don't just try to fight the randomness. It's a fight you cannot win. You can only control your actions, but not the outcome. In the end, Lady Fortune, Fortuna, Fate, God's Will, or whatever name you want to call it, chooses the winners. It seems kinda obvious for me to say, right? But you can't control things which are outside your control. The only thing we can do is to keep persisting until we get what we want. It's time to understand that the world is telling you something with each and every failure and action. It's feedback, giving you precise instructions on how to improve. It's trying to wake you up from your cluelessness. It's trying to teach you something. Listen, lessons come hard, only if you're deaf to them. Don't be. The only guarantee we have is that the more we persist, is that the closer we are to reaching our goals. But persistence is not enough only on its own. Persistence is sometimes accepting you cannot achieve a certain goal in a certain way. It's all about perceiving the situation as it is, and then taking the right action, constantly, time after time. The more you fail, the more you know a certain way doesn't work. Learn from your mistakes. Conclusion. In the meantime, cling tooth and nail to the following rule: not to give in to adversity, not to trust prosperity, and always take full note of fortune's habit of behaving just as she pleases. Seneca.